Yeah, it's your boy Ray on the mic. Let's go. Mic check, mic check. Welcome to On the Mic with Ray White, where we share life lessons, encourage self-reflection, and equip you to take action. My name is Ray White, and I'm wondering, if you're wondering, what's up with the new angle? Where's Ray been? What's up with the podcast? Ha! All those will be answered. Maybe some will be answered in this episode right here. But what I wanted to share with you all today is that your boy is moving homes. The family is moving homes, which means that this particular location will be the last time this recording will be the last time I'll be recording in this location. And it's kind of sad. It's pretty sentimental. I mean, come on now. Like, as a family, we've been in this house for 5 years. We brought both of our kids home to this home. And for a professional entrepreneurial journey, I built and starting to build a podcasting, public speaking, just various things in this spot. And so just thinking about taking that next step and moving on beyond this spot requires me to take a step back and reflect, like, dang, what have we built? What are we building? What's going on? So in the last couple of months, in the midst of all this, is trying to not only wrap up a few of my responsibilities and initiatives that I have set out for myself and for clients as well, but being able to work on this transition and put some focus into that. And now that we're literally in the final weeks here and me doing this last recording in the spot, just reflecting at, hey, 3 years ago when I said it, I'm gonna do a podcast, or more particularly when my wife bought me a podcasting set 3 years ago, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know what I was gonna talk about. But I saw that this was an opportunity just to practice, to build up a skill set, to be intentional about this desire to speak and this gift to speak, this gift to share a message, and utilizing this as an avenue, as a vehicle to make that happen. And I've been very fortunate that through the many nights of sitting in this seat, in this spot, with not just all this that you see here, it started very small than this, but being able to have a very humble beginning and continue to work through that, to be able to get opportunities to speak at various locations, to really hone in and clarify my message, and more particularly just the passion of what I want to speak about. Because when I first started out, I thought about talking about everything. Honestly, I thought about talking about just all my past stuff in college and what I've learned through that, which is still valuable. There's a lot of lessons through that. But now I want to interweave through those things what leaders can do to increase their leadership, but more importantly, build inclusive communities where every identity belongs and thrives. And that has really been truly a theme and a mission for me this past year, since this COVID time, since the uprisings that we've experienced in 2020, since a lot of the systemic oppression that we've experienced with various identities, more particularly Black and brown bodies in this community, in this country, in this world, in this season. Being mindful about how those things are not only impacting me, but impacting one another, but looking to see, okay, in this space, what would it look like to not only highlight the inequities that we see in our communities, but also find ways to galvanize individuals in our communities to take action in this space, and even equip people who are ready and willing to take action to make changes individually and institutionally for a better cause, a better way, but may not necessarily have all the right tools. So how can we provide space, bring people along, create opportunities where people can be equipped to take action, to have this equity lens, and be able to move in a direction that does create these inclusive communities where every identity belongs and thrives. And that way I articulated that did not come to me 3 years ago. I mean, sure, there was maybe parts of it, but it took practice, it took time, it took being intentional and stepping in certain spaces. And all that most likely would have happened if I did not start this podcast. So I'm excited that I took the first step. I'm excited that I stepped into the unknown and said, hey, you know what? I don't know what I'm truly doing, but I feel this in my bones that I should do something in this space, and let's see what happens. And I'm super excited. It's been fun. Not only a great conversation starter, but it has opened doors to many opportunities that I'm excited to step into. Opportunities that I've wanted to step into, that I really desired to be a part of, but more importantly, conversations that help create space for all identities to be involved in the community and people to reflect and take action in that space. So that's what I'm excited for. Learned a lot by being in this seat. I've learned a lot by learning how to work from home in a pandemic, as sure as you all are too. I've learned a lot of how to start a business, and the lessons and the lessons and less trials and failures in all that spaces, and more so just taking bold steps, because you won't necessarily, big risk, high reward, right? Like I've been thinking about that a lot, especially the last couple of months, is that I need to start taking some bigger risks. I need to start taking some bigger steps and leaps and betting on myself to go big in that. I mean, you see this logo of truly creating space in this way with this digital marketing concepts that I've developed. Not only am I wanting to help clients embed their social media digital marketing strategies, but what can I do to create space to bring people along to also for them to build up their skill sets and actively work with various clients. Like I have a dream to make on the mic productions as like as an agency, if you will, digital marketing agency, but is recruiting freelancers, college students, people who are interested in the industry and actually have on-the-job training and skill sets to work with clients in this space. And right now, solopreneurs who are leaders and doing leadership consulting and training in this space. So, there's a small dream there. And then, I shared a little bit about what it is that I'm dreaming about and wanted to accomplish in my message and speaking. But then also, podcast is an avenue that I want to enact that message. What does it look like to write a book? What does it look like to, have a course or a curriculum of some type to walk corporate leaders through this space? How do I transform this platform to be able to truly meet that need and demand that is being asked of in the community right now, but create space where other voices can be a part of that conversation too, because it's not just me, it's all of us that are impacted that have a responsibility to take action in that. So there's a lot that I think about. There's a lot that I'm processing here. And just to know that, again, it all started in the seat by taking the first step of something that I did not know was going to transpire into. And I don't know what the next 3 years are going to bring, but I'm excited because I was able to see how the last 3 years, how the last 31 years have transpired so far. So who knows what God's going to provide in the future. And for me is doing my best to be intentional in listening, intentional in taking steps, and intentional in doing a community, which exactly is my third point that I wanted to share, is that by being in this space, reflecting on the past and getting excited about the future, and even finding what my message is all about, stepping into the unknown and all that, I cannot help but thank just the community that has been involved in this space. Folks who've been on the podcast, folks who've asked about the podcast, folks who have I bounce these ideas off with, folks who even, who may not know that I've been watching, but I've been admiring how they've taken action and being able to either model or reflect or just give the love, give the kudos out to them to showcase how, they are, their movement is inspiring me to move too. And so you never know who's watching. You never know who's going to be following your footsteps. So why not move it with integrity? Why not move with intention and move with boldness and just focus on how you can serve in that space. That's just a sidebar. But the community piece is something that's important because we're not meant to do all this alone. So I'm even though I forget that sometimes, and I do sit in my garage quietly alone in the middle of the night doing these recordings and things, but there are people who have been very active in engaging with me in this and just encouraging me, stirring me up, being involved in some capacity, and I can't thank them enough because that's important. And transitioning that mindset to just all the things that I do, how can I still stay connected in the community and be involved in that space with the people who not only want to see me succeed, but I want to see them succeed too. Because if one wins, we all win. Focus on collaboration and not competition. But the competition could elevate our game to become better for all of us to thrive. So I don't know. I don't want to ramble too long on this final episode in this particular spot, but it's not the final episode of On the Mic with Ray White. Once I get into my new spot, you'll be able to see it, a new layout, new background, and all that kind of stuff, and even watch that transformation too of the space and what the new creativity, that new opportunity will bring to the podcast, the brand, and to the future that it holds. What I'm super excited about that is I'll be in the house. No more garage living. I'll be in the house, y'all. We live, baby. So that just brings on more excitement as well. So anyway, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Thanks so much for listening to this and a quick recap and update. I'll be coming back in a couple of weeks to give my Father's Day reflection. But till then, follow me on all social media platforms at Ray Devontae. You can also follow the podcast On the Mic with Ray White on all social media platforms. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts and perspectives on not only just the content that's being produced, but again, what are you reflecting on? When you think back on the thing that you started years ago, what were your thoughts and feelings, and how did that transition to where you are today? What are you looking forward to? Just continue to create dialogue. And just know that the content that's going to be coming out moving forward is going to have that self-reflective tint to it, but definitely geared towards all of us as leaders taking action in the spaces that we are leading in, and which is every space. So how can we be leaders of diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives and create inclusive communities where every identity belongs and thrives? Thanks so much for listening to the podcast, and I'll be seeing y'all real soon in a new spot. Continue to share the show with others. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.